you like to see really in local football, is it?
No, absolutely not. You really don't want to see forfeit in that top grade, and that was really disappointing news when that came through. I must admit, and really for Woden Western too, who were still in the hunt for potential sneak into the finals. That almost kills them off for the year, which is a self-inflicted wound that you don't really want this time of year.
Well, that's a disappointing thing, isn't it? I mean, they probably didn't think they were going to win the game anyway, but even if they got something out of it, they would have given themselves an opportunity. But as you say, self-inflicted wound, looks like they're done for the season.
Yeah, that's right. And, sure, they may not have expected, but there's a chance. We know Belconnen potentially had a number of players missing. They had national championships commitments for some of their young players, so they would have been without their starting goalkeeper. And nobody's seen the backup goalkeeper because Sally James has been so good all year. So there was absolutely an opportunity. And, we've seen it a million times before in football. If you turn up and you have a crack, anything's possible.
To be fair, Matt, we've not seen much of Sally James. She's played every single game this season.
Most
of the action's been at the other end.
That's a good point.
On to today, though. Canberra FC second on the ladder, playing 7th place Monaro Panthers. On paper, it looks everything like a home victory.
Yeah, absolutely. Sort of turning up today, the neutral aspect would be sort of not would CFC win, but by how many. And again, though, if Monaro turn up with a good game plan and are able to take away some of those key individuals, then they're in with a shout. And I just think back to the last time that they played, and I think it was 2-2 at half time. And they caused CFC a bit of a flutter.
Finished 7-2 in the end, that one at the Riverside Stadium, and some late goals from Canberra FC doing for them there. And Canberra FC have been in plenty of goal-scoring form. In round 12, they beat Canberra 6-1. Round 15, they beat the Academy 2-0. And round 13, which was the 15 was a replay game, obviously. And last week, a comfortable 10-0 win over Wagga City, the week before, I should say. Brittany Pullenby firing with 7 in that match to move to 20 for the season. 20
for the season, so trying to put some pressure on Hayley Taylor-Young, who I think is still at the top of the goal-scoring league there. And as we get to the crunch, every little goal counts, and the jockeying for position. So we talk about Belconnen United probably being in a position where they're too good to not win the premiership, but there's still a battle for who gets that all-important second chance in that second spot too. And if CFC can win today, we'll move them one step closer to that as well.
It was kind of ironic because Ashley Pullenby, Brittany's sister, scored 4 goals that weekend for APL Leichhardt's, and then Brittany goes out and gets 7 against Wagga City. So she claimed the bragging rights. Good family aspect there. A goal here, a goal there, and nice to have that sort of competition. I know if it had been me and my sister, she would have won every time, given my goal-scoring abilities. One other game today, Gungahlin versus Canberra Olympic at 3 o'clock. The Tuggeranong Academy game obviously cancelled until later notice. Next week's fixtures, let's have a quick look at round 15's games, the remaining round 15 games. Wagga City home to Gungahlin United, Woden Western at home to Tuggeranong, Canberra Olympic at home to Belconnen United. The jockeying for the top 4, as we said, is pretty much done. It's a question now of who places where. Yeah, that's right. So that Wagga City Wanderers game and Gungahlin game will be key. Gungahlin won't want to travel to Wagga and drop any points there because they've got it in their own hands to put the pressure on and win second. And I think, as we mentioned the last time, I think CFC and Gungahlin come up against each other towards the back end, and they'd like that done and dusted before that crucial fixture comes into effect. Well, teams coming out on the field here at Deacon Stadium. Let's have a look at the lineup, starting with Nick Brosnich's Canberra FC, a 4-1-2-3 for them. Nat Vasta in goal, Lara Agnew, Krista Hagan, Amy McLaughlin and Alice Churchill across the back. Grace Gill at the point of the triangle in midfield. Jamie Berkeley and Sharon Chow in front of her, the front 3 of Rachel Goldstein, Mel Bunker and Brittany Pullenby, full of goals. Yeah, absolutely full of goals, and an interesting little move there for Sharon Chow, who we've normally seen in that front 3, dropping into a high attacking midfield role, and no Ivana Galich today, so that'll be a loss. She's really been the linchpin of that back line and that defender who will sniff out any sort of danger and gives them the ability to launch attacks quickly too with her passing range and a threat from set pieces. So interesting to see if there's any sort of tweaks or adjustments there with Galich out and Chow into the midfield. Ian Worthington's Monaro Panthers go with a 3-5-2. Will be at the midfield and 2 banks of 3 and 2. Liana Hall in goal, Timmy Compton, Caitlin Joy and Georgia Grant on debut in the back 3. The 2 wide players in midfield, Alina Bozanovska and Liz Edwards. The midfield 3, Sophia Fuller-Netto, Darby Whiteley and Sophia Bissell also on debut. The 15-year-old up front, Kelly Sturton and Tina Skinner. Yeah, exciting for the young girls on debut today. And Yipao, probably the big name missing there, who's gone home. Her time has
has finished, and she'll be a big loss. Interesting to see with the 3-5-2 from Monaro, whether they back themselves to take on CFC's front three 1v1, or whether with that 5 midfield they start to drop those two a little bit wider and a little bit deeper, and look to set a foundation of a back five and really use them more as a wing back to create some really explosive counter-attacking football, because Bozanovska on the right-hand side especially is someone who can absolutely back up those front two. And nice to see that they've got a front two. We know that Sturton's been pretty isolated figure for most of the year.
The bench, Canberra C have only named 3, Jordan Uida, Isabella Tamaro and Tiana Malner, because Millie Mallinson, who was supposed to be on there, cruelly injured her knee again in the game beforehand. Monaro Panthers 5 on their bench, Lila Brewer, Shay Gervin and Zoe Miller, and 2 under-15 players, Bella Wallace and Shania Settin.
Yeah, devastating news about the ACL, not something you ever want to see, but chance for CFC to really kick on.
Aisha Struck, the referee, gets us underway. Alexandra Mackay on one side, and on this near side making her WNPL debut as an AR, Aurelia Haynes. So big day for her as well.
Yeah, and congratulations to her.
One of the youngsters has come through the refereeing academy, they tell me. Here's Chow, first touch for Bunker. In midfield, they're battling with Bissell. A couple of youngsters, as we said, in this Panther side. There'll be no fear. Into the unknown.
And that might be the advantage. You know, no fear, no mental scars, no damage from history. So you can go out and really attack the game.
Bunker challenging with Compton. A bit of space ahead for Palumbi, but the pass didn't find her initially, but it did via the foot of Compton. Now here's Bunker, looking to swing it into Palumbi. Compton got a foot in again. She could be in for a busy afternoon today. Tembi Compton, who's been in outstanding form for the Panthers this season.
Yeah, her and Joy at the back there, despite the troubles defensively, have actually performed really well. And we've only got to think back to a game against Gungahlin at the RES where they were very, very strong together.
Here's Palumbi into the penalty area. Opportunity straight away for Canberra FC for Goldstein. Lays it back for Gill. Here's Chow. Battling on the edge of the box. And Panthers can't get it away. Half a chance there for Goldstein to swing a boot at it. Skinner. Challenge from McLaughlin, who tracked her a long way from home for the defender.
Yeah, great work by Whiteley in there. She was able to nudge herself in front of Gill and take away the threat of Gill, and then actually followed up with a second challenge as well to help try and create the clearance. So great work there.
Churchill swings it in. Pattern set already, you'd think. Compton gets it away up towards Skinner. Control let her down, and FC have the ball back again. Just a start that Nick Bosnich would have wanted. Nick Bosnich's side, when you're playing against a team low down the table, you always want to start on the front foot, not give them a sniff.
Yeah, that's right. There's always a danger when you're playing somebody slightly lower down that your intensity drops and you're not quite on point early. But that certainly doesn't seem to be the case with CFC today. Got good ball speed, good structure, and putting pressure on early and it'll be interesting to see how Skinner interacts with Sturton.
It's a chance for Bozanovska, who made the run, or for Edwards rather, who'd made the run on that far side, and seen out by Agnew.
Yeah, good pressure by Edwards was there. She's made the run forward, and she actually hasn't given Agnew any room to breathe either. So this now gives Monaro a really bright opportunity to put some pressure on and lock it in and see what they can do. And you've only got to look out at Bozanovska on this wide right-hand side, all on their own. If they can switch that point early, that's danger signs.
Thrown over the head of Sturton. And FC should clear comfortably. Towards Bunker, beaten to it by Caitlin Joy. It's one for Sturton to chase, and Hagan got across to stop her. Here she is again, Krista Hagan, in further back than she normally is, filling in at centre-back today. No doubt she'll still have her ball-playing ability, bringing it from the back four.
Yeah, that's right, and that's probably exactly why Nick's put her back there. He's lost, as we mentioned, he's lost Galich and her ability to play out from the back, and it's probably a calming influence back there, Hagan, and able to help him play out and have a little bit more security and not necessarily rush.
Having Grace Gill back in the side also is obviously a big bonus. She's been away for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. No replacement for experience, really, and there's probably, other than Caitlin Munoz, there's probably no more experienced footballer in Canberra than Grace Gill.
And she seems to be getting better as she gets older. Grace Gill.
Yeah, I wish that happened to me. It certainly wasn't the case. Still hugely influential in the game, both on and off the field as well, which is nice to see. She certainly spends a lot of time giving back to the football community.
That's Grace Gill, not yourself.
That's correct.
Here's Chow trying to get a touch forward. Bosanoska sends it down for Skinner to chase. And there's Hagen covering comfortably. Declines to go back to a goalkeeper and rather scuff the clearance.
Yeah, maybe that's just where being in that little unfamiliar position, there's a little bit of hesitation, and knowing that you don't have that next line behind you. Probably didn't quite get the clearance the way she wanted. You can see that she's pointing to Churchill to drop a little bit lower so she can play her down the line. But that's positive signs for Monaro. There's a little bit of nervousness there, and without Galich, that's probably not surprising.
In towards Sturton, looking to use her strength. And another throw for the Panthers, who've responded quite well to the initial burst from FC.
Yeah, they've certainly started to work their way into it and really start to grind. They've just got to be careful that they don't get all sucked into this one corner of the pitch. They're going to leave themselves really heavily exposed on the outlet side.
Where Brittany Palumbi might try and switch it to that side if she can. Here's Berkeley. Chow, space for Gill in midfield. First time ball forward. Did Bunker stray? She didn't. She's onside. Take it on Compton. It's going to fall for Palumbi. Real chance here for Canberra FC. Compton's down in an absolute heap on the edge of the box. Didn't see what happened off the ball there. But the upshot is a corner.
Yeah, Compton down there, and that's not a good sign. Hasn't really got up. Might have tweaked an ankle as she landed and put pressure on. But CFC able to counter and break, and that's what we were mentioning about just before, as Monaro drove into that one corner to try and get the ball. There was no one through the centre of the field to be able to break up the play and stop a Grace Gill run through the middle. You really need to make sure that you have balance through the middle of the park.
Won't want to lose Timmy Compton. Found her in State League 2 and brought her up, and she's done an incredible job in her debut season in the Premier League. She needs to defend this one. Swung into the near post. Churchill looking to pick up the pieces. Touch from Berkeley to create the angle for the cross. Goldstein came in on it. And Gill lofts it into the area. Chance for Bunker, and she nips in, but the flag is up. It won't count. Good ball from Gill. Decent finish as well, but just went a bit too soon.
Yeah, nice little delicate ball in there and just set a little bit too high. But credit to the Monaro Panthers line there that they started to drive off and left Bunker offside and her not quite aware. And that's good credit to them and good discipline for them trying to clear their lines. But again, they're under almost immediate pressure. It's scrappy getting out.
Berkeley has a touch. Here's Goldstein. Palumbi insider. Goldstein going the long way round. Still going though, Rachel Goldstein, and in the end got way too much on the cross. Bunker's going to keep it in play. Support offered by Chow. Agnew's ball. Now McLaughlin. Patient build-up this from Canberra FC. Berkeley. Churchill. Looking to get it onto that left foot and perhaps deliver. But she's overrun it, and Caitlin Joy did enough to step across.
Yeah, and you mentioned Russ, patient build-up, and that'll please the CFC coaching staff, because it's quite easy in a game like this to really get individual and really start to drive and think that you've got to score in a hurry. There's still 37 minutes to go in the first half, and that control and that patience and waiting for those opportunities, trying to split especially Joy and Compton through the back line there to get Bunker through, that'll be vital. And you can see a little bit with Edwards getting sucked in to create the overload.
Berkeley won it straight to Palumbi. Space here for Bunker. Pushes it on to Goldstein. Real chance here for Rachel Goldstein. And she slots it home into the bottom corner. Yet another goal for Canberra FC. Goldstein's 20th of the season in all competitions. They lead 1-0.
And we just spoke about not rushing it and waiting for that opportunity, and they've done that well. They won the first ball off the goal kick and got control, and good run by Goldstein down the outside, and a fantastic ball to split through the channel. And once Goldstein's in that situation, there's rarely a different outcome other than a goal, and that'll really start to settle the nerves for CFC. Especially they had a couple of nervous moments at the back with the change in the back four, but that's a fantastic start.
Beautifully crafted as well. Bunker could have had a go herself, and selfishly feeds it to Goldstein, who, as I said, 16th league goal of the season, 20 in all comps. Here's Brittany Palumbi looking to add to the misery straight away. Compton, who looks thankfully fully recovered for the Panthers, gets it away. Goldstein didn't score last week in the 10-0 win, but she hasn't had one for a few weeks now. So it'd be nice for her to get back on the score sheets.
Yeah, she started off like a house on fire. The goals left, right and centre. She couldn't not score. And
nice for her to break that drought.
She hasn't scored since round 7 when she got a double against Tuggeranong United. And you consider she's got 20 for the season. She did start like a house on fire. They moved her position somewhat, though, in the latter stages. Skinner looking to respond with the ball in. Agnew needs to be careful as Sturton was behind. They moved her from the middle, didn't they? And they pushed her a bit further out wide to push Bunker and Palumbi when she came into the team.
Yeah, that's right. They did adjust that formation, and you could see. And I think we commentated on the semi-final in the Fed Cup where Goldstein was a bit of an isolated figure out wide, and could she be more effective in the middle? But good to see that they found a way to bring her into the game. And Skinner's done an excellent job there for Monaro, taking that line 1v1. And now what Monaro will need is whenever Skinner's on the ball, they need 1 to 2 midfielders to drive through that middle and create that second opening, because they'd sent one through, they had a 2-on-1 in the middle and then a potential shot on goal.
Believe it or not, that's now 52 goals between the front three in all competitions this year. And they won't be done today, you don't think? Here's Bunker. Tried to squeeze it past Joy, who's back there defending. Bunker's got it back again, though. Churchill. Good ball in, and Gill's in on goal here. Real chance for 2, denied by Liana Hall. Danger's not over just yet. Bunker with the curler, and it's just wide of goal. Decent save that from the goalkeeper. Gill looks certain to make it 2-0.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fantastic save there. Great touch by Grace Gill. She's just snuck in front there and got the big touch. And credit to the Monaro Panthers goalkeeper there. She drives forward and actually smothers that attempt on goal, and that's fantastic. And Bunker, we talk about the patience. Bunker maybe just getting a little bit excited. She played the right ball before to release Goldstein, and given that they had players loaded, that was maybe the chance to just recycle and just reset and keep that ball. But full credit to Hall in goals there.
Palumbi with 20, Goldstein with 20, Bunker with 12. They're sharing them around as well. It's incredible statistic, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely is. And Bunker might be on a mission later on today, given that she's a little bit off the pace, you'd say.
It's Berkeley smashing it across goal. Well, she had one in the net earlier on, disallowed for offside.
Yeah, it's not often you'd say that somebody with 12 goals for the year is a little bit off the pace, but you know that's a credit to Nick and his coaching staff and how they've been able to create chance after chance after chance, winning games by double digits multiple occasions throughout the year. They never seem to give you a minute's rest.
To put it into perspective, the 11 out there for Monaro Panthers today, between them have 11 goals. And Bunker has 12 on her own. So that puts into perspective what the Panthers are up against today. Here is Bunker looking for Palumbi. Fresh off 7 last week, as we said, into the penalty area. Still going, Brittany Palumbi, and Hall's out to deny her.
Well out by Hall there, and a little bit Zlatan-esque there by Palumbi as she chips and chase. And if anybody saw that goal from the MLS overnight.
Just needs to get the finish on the volley.
That's right.
Zlatan doing Zlatan things again. Still got it.
Just interesting to see Monaro where they now start to, from a goal kick, start to change. I mean, there's a couple of times there where they've targeted a wider area and Grace Gill sat there and picked the ball off, and that's kind of not the target you want to be hitting if you're Monaro.
Good pressing from Whiteley on Churchill. Gill infield. Gets it back again, and the skipper can bring it forward. Space for Bunker. Movement's good from Canberra FC all over the park. Palumbi's peeled inside because Chow had gone wide. Good switch from Goldstein too. Here's Berkeley. Agnew bursting up outside her. Berkeley electing to come the other way and sliding it through to Palumbi. This is brilliant from FC. Palumbi round the goalkeeper and just rolls it into the side netting. Would have been a fantastic second.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice little one-touch play that starts in your back corner and you go all the way through. 1-2s, wall passes, and they start to suck Monaro over and then release on the outside. And that's a fantastic run by Palumbi to just run across the defence and an excellent ball, and disappointed not with the finish. And Ian Worthington will be a little bit concerned because Monaro's defensive shape is actually set not too badly, but they continue to have players dive out of the line, which is opening up those holes, and it's far too easy for CFC to cut through.
They've got 5 in midfield, and they're being torn apart in the middle at the moment. And here's another opportunity for Goldstein to bear down on goal. Palumbi arriving on the far post, pulls it back. Opportunity for Bunker, didn't catch hold of it at all. And Panthers need a bit of respite here. They're not getting any. Drive from distance from Hagen, that's well over the crossbar, and that'll let them off the hook a little.
Yeah, and what we're talking about, that defensive shape, that as one comes out, that encourages the next Monaro person to slide over and leave their play, which creates hole after hole after hole, and then your defensive shape just seems to disintegrate. And then the next thing for Monaro is getting control of that ball. So we just saw there where CFC's won the 50-50 contest, but
Monaro had a chance to control that ball. Once you've got the ball, it's yours, and then you're free to do what you want with it. And they haven't been able to get their foot on the ball yet to really make any decisions in midfield, which is the problem.
Sturton's come deep to try and grab it, to try and get hold of the ball for those in black and green. Vasta, who's been a virtual spectator so far. McLaughlin to Churchill. McLaughlin again. Another touch for Vasta. Only 2 games left for Canberra FC after this. Tuggeranong United at home next week, then the bye, then away to Gungahlin to finish their fixture list. The Panthers on the bye next week, and their run-in isn't very nice for them. Gungahlin at home, Belconnen away, and then Woden Western away to finish it off.
Yeah, it's a rough run home, but certainly a run that allows them to cause a bit of havoc in the top 4 as well, which would be something that I'm sure Ian Worthington will be pressing with his team.
We might see him use a few more of his youngsters throughout the run-in as well. Like I mentioned today, Bella Wallace and Shani Asetin, 2 under-15s on the bench for him this afternoon in line for a run.
Yeah, that's right, and there's nothing wrong with blooding those young players at this time of year. It's quite obvious you're not going to make the top 4, so we start to plan as a coach for the next year and the year after that and the year after that. And if you can expose some of these young players to first-team football, especially against teams like Canberra FC, where they've, these 15-year-olds have probably seen Grayscale play and they've watched her and idolised her, and that's a really good opportunity for them to find out what first-grade football is all about.
Well, the Panthers on the attack here. Credit to them. They're still pushing into the area. This is a race for Bozanovska with Palumbi. Palumbi wins that battle. Churchill into midfield to Berkeley. Just steps away from Bissell and plays a lovely ball forward to Goldstein. Now Bunker's in midfield, in front of her if she can find her. Here's Mel Bunker. Huge amount of time for Bunker, but she's let herself down with a heavy first touch, and Hall reacted very sharply.
Yeah, she did well, Bunker, not to stray offside in the first place. I thought she'd gone too far and she held herself off, and Goldstein's picked her out well, but yeah, that first touch is an absolute killer, and while it doesn't hurt you today, it might hurt you come finals time.
Terrific weight on the ball initially from Berkeley to put Goldstein into the channel. And another warning if the Panthers needed one. It might be a long afternoon for them.
Yeah, and you can just see the Panthers have kept that back 3. It's probably just off screen now, and they're 1v1 in the back line. And that's a real danger. Goldstein especially out on the right-hand side all on her own. And that spells huge amounts of trouble if Monaro can't win it in the midfield.
Good challenge from Bozanovska on Chow. Here's Palumbi. Tries to get away from Compton. Panthers throw. Here's Whiteley. It's unfortunate for Bozanovska. Couldn't control the volley pass from Darby Whiteley. Been a bundle of energy in the middle of the park so far. Whiteley, here she is again. Wins that challenge. In there with Gill. And wins the throw as well. Darby Whiteley did well there.
Yeah, did very well there. You can see Grace Gill frustrated that she's turned that ball over and created a throw-in, but that's all thanks to the pressure from Whiteley, who's back on break from the US and looking to have an impact for her hometown team before she goes back, and that's pleasing to see.
Putting herself about. Compton with the throw in towards Bissell. One by Gill. Compton again. This could be difficult on the bounce here for Vasta. Needs to be a bit careful on it, especially with the sun here at Deakin Stadium. I've seen over the years plenty of goals going from that kind of range. Keepers losing it in the sunshine as it dips behind us in the commentary position. The shadows lengthen across the field. Here's Grant. Seems to have settled in nicely on her debut so far.
Yeah, nice.
Given a bit of trouble by Goldstein, but
yeah,
that's to be expected.
Yeah, but good to see there. We've had trouble. She's had some trouble with Goldstein, but she's had an opportunity to take a touch and settle and have a look. And as a youngster, given the pressure she's been on, there might have been a tendency to just kick and hope. But she's taken the touch and she's relaxed and she's tried to identify the pass forward, and that'll be really pleasing for Ian Worthington and his team.
Been overseas himself, Ian Worthington, working on his pro licence in the UK. Tail end of the season over there. Joy to Compton under pressure from Palumbi. It's going to fall for Bunker. Here come the red shirts again. Picks out Palumbi, but Compton's recovered well. Very well indeed. And in this Panthers side, she'll be a target for some of the other clubs next year, you might think, if they can persuade her to leave Monaro.
That's right, and you'd certainly hope Monaro could keep this group together and really start to build and work something, especially if they're bringing through these 15-year-old footballers. But yeah, absolutely. You look at some of the players out there, Edwards, Boz and Oscar. I'm not sure what Joy's going to do next year, whether she stays or goes home to the US.
Here's Goldstein looking to swing it into the penalty area.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show that it's a good story, Timmy Compton, because she's come from, like I said, State League 2, and just goes to show that there is quality out there in the lower grades of the women's game if coaches are prepared to go and have a look and take a chance on some of these players.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes that's the best thing you can do as a coach is, you know, just back your gut. You might see something that you think is, do you know what, it doesn't fit right now, but I reckon I can mould that and I reckon I can create something if I give this person an opportunity. And quite often you'll have a conversation and you'll know after that conversation how much they're willing to be coached and be moulded, and it looks like Ian Worthington's done a great job with Compton there.
Grant did well to bring that ball forwards. From defence, here's Fulaneto. Easy win from Hagan. Gill finds Berkeley. Fulaneto won it back, but here come Canberra FC on the front foot once again. Goldstein, can she deliver a ball into the area? Couldn't quite keep it in play. But they seem to be getting a fair bit of joy down that front with 3 at the back. And Edwards being caught further forward. There's big gaps for Canberra FC to exploit.
Yeah, again, Monaro just not being able to get the pressure on the midfield. So if they persist with the 3 at the back, which is a valid option because it means that you can put more pressure high up the field, but you've got to be able to shut down the likes of Gill, Berkeley and Chow in the middle, because if they get to run, then it automatically creates an overload and they're 4v3 in the attacking sense, and that's dangerous.
Alice Churchill inside to Grace Gill. Little step away from Fulaneto. Here's Berkeley. Compton again in the way. Whiteley picks up the pieces, but Berkeley snaps back in to win it back. Hagan, Gill. Happy in the tight spaces, Grace Gill. Churchill. Berkeley's kept hold of it, but while she has found Palumbi, it went under Compton's foot. Joy's across to put the challenge in and does exceptionally well. The central defender just to lean into Brittany Palumbi and make it difficult for her, and Panthers win a goal kick.
Yeah, smart there by Joy. You know, caught a little bit by surprise probably with the missed touch from Compton, but she slid across well and used a lot of experience and good body shape there to hold it out. And from a defensive point of view, if you're Monaro, you'd start to be talking to your midfield. Okay, you don't have to win that ball, but if CFC are facing backwards, especially don't worry about winning that ball at that point. Let them play backwards. Let them shift it around the back while we've got our block set. And as they face forward, that's the time to go and put pressure on and win it. Don't waste energy trying to win balls that are going backwards anyway.
Here's Grace Gill looking to orchestrate something for FC. Palumbi. Cross on her straight away with Sturton back there defending deep. Helping out. It's encouraging for your side when your centre forwards managing to track back 60, 70 metres to get involved.
Yeah, that's right. Shows a real team ethos and well done by Sturton. We've seen her do that a few times this year, and it just creates that extra player there and filling a gap, and she's done well. The trick is here, where do they go with this goal kick? So I mentioned about possibly changing up. They don't really have a short option at the moment, so I can predict Grace Gill trying to get on the end of this one as well.
Kelly Sturton wearing number 171, or 17 and a bit of strapping tape.
Yeah.
To differentiate her from the other number 17 out there, Sophia Fulaneto. Berkeley glides across the turf, Jamie Berkeley, and then puts a ball forward. Grant got something on it. A bunker battling with Joy. Joy facing the wrong way as far as she's concerned, but Compton helps out. Sturton at the other end. And Fulaneto couldn't find Edwards, and now here's a chance for FC to break forward, but Georgia Grant was in the way. Good challenge by Edwards on Berkeley. Which way has this gone? Canberra FC ball.
Looked like a good challenge from one of those 50-50s, and everybody fell over, and that's unfortunate. But obviously the referee's seen something there, a little bit closer to the action than you and I, Russ. So we'll back her judgment.
Could have gone either way, really, couldn't it?
Oh yeah.
FC have got the call though. Krista Hagan to take the free kick. Plenty of red shirts on the edge of the penalty area. Hagen delivers a decent-looking ball up towards Goldstein. Great control in the first instance. Falls for Palumbi. Shooting chance perhaps for Gill. Closed down very quickly, but she's orchestrated a room for the shots, and it wasn't too far away in the end.
Yeah, you could just see as that free kick was being taken, Grace Gill, who probably most people would have expected to drive in the box and being a heading option, just peeled off to the top of the box and had an acre of space there. And the pressure came, which was good, and that's what I was talking about before, where if they're facing backwards, don't have to worry about winning the ball, but the overcommitment to the tackles allow Gill to spin and get the shot away. So in that scenario, you're almost better off jockeying and just holding that player, forcing CFC to start again.
20 minutes left in the first half. The expected floodgates haven't opened after that early goal. And that's all credit to Monaro, who've defended very well. Joy sends it forwards. Filanetto challenging with Chow. Now Grant will go across to challenge Goldstein. And gets there ahead of the winger.
Yeah, and just a chance for Monaro to set their lines again. Yeah, you've got Bunker in between the two centre-backs and Palombi sitting up the top, and you can see Bozanovska's dropped in to make that back four, and Berkeley sitting in the middle on her own. If I was Ian Worthington, it would be a little bit scary.
They've defended it well, though, and snuffed it out at source.
And that's why he's coaching and I'm not, Russ.
Manny Moore is involved with the NYC team, with Anthony Jagarinich. Here's Palumbi, lets it run across the body. Churchill might take over. Here is Palumbi, bit of space for her onto that left foot, past the first one. Here's Brittany Palumbi in on goal, chance for two, and somehow it's not gone in. The deflection off the heel, I think it may have been Caitlin Joy, has gone for a corner, and FC almost double their advantage.
Yeah, great coverage there, and well played by CFC on his left-hand side. Goldstein and Palumbi worked it out. Palumbi left the ball to Goldstein to come inside and really took the game on. And at the edge of the 18, 1v1, Palumbi is a real threat in this competition to any defence. But well scrambled by Monaro and forced the corner, and real chance to clear their lines, potentially counter-attack with Skinner sitting high.
Massive height differential advantage for FC here. You can see, and it's swung in towards Goldstein, who meets it on the volley. Bunker just in front of the keeper and steers it wide of the post. Once again, Canberra FC go close.
Yeah, well done by Goldstein to get the connection, and Bunker just slipping in out of nowhere. Goalkeeper Halls probably thinks she's got that sewn up and there's no problems, but she's just whipped the leg around there and just past the far post. So it's well done, but need to be a little bit more aware on the next corner, I think, Monaro. You can't let a Goldstein or a Gill with that sort of height just have free runs at the ball.
There's pretty much only Timmy Compton that has any real height in the Monaro side, having to deal with the tall players from Canberra FC. Here's Churchill. Palumbi. Churchill goes back for the 1-2 and then fires it across. Goal coming in was Chow. We're talking about height. He needed to be a couple inches tall. If that's great skill, it's probably a goal.
Yeah, not quite the stretch of an emu there to get the head on the end of the ball. But great little interchange of play there and a great delivery in, and again showing different avenues into goal. But just the timing, and it's one of those things that the heading in Canberra football for women's is not possibly where it should be, and we've just seen a number of examples of that today.
Something to work on, because Sam Kerr is a prime example of how many goals you can score with your head if you can work on your heading ability at the top level. Bozanovska's there. Skinner will chase. Just eased off of it by McLaughlin. Here's Hagen. Gill. Nice work again from Grace Gill. Goldstein out wide. Chow's peeled away. Goldstein wants it back. Here they come again. Lara Agnew, can she get there before it rolls out of play? It's going to be difficult for her to do so. It's always beating her, that ball.
Yeah, but positive signs again for CFC as they... Looks like they've shifted Goldstein into the centre of midfield and Chow out into a wider area, but really nice combination, and seeing the right back overload and be that extra player, and just the weight of pass off there. And I think Monaro, as I've asked for, doing something a little bit different, just playing it short and trying to have a little bit more control.
But Skinner looking a little isolated. Sturton's had to drop deep to help out in midfield. Fulanetto sends it forward. Gill picks up for Canberra FC. Hagen. And here's Whiteley. Gill once more. Churchill. And Goldstein's return pass. It was a fizzed at her by Alice Churchill, wasn't it? You can see what she wanted, but the delivery not quite there.
Yeah, connection not quite there. Thought process is absolutely bang on, but just the execution there. And you know, as we start to head towards half-time, Monaro is still not out of this by any stretch of the imagination.
Good touch that from Skinner. Tried to get Edwards in on it. But defensively, Agnew did well. Here's Chow. Berkeley. Gill. Moves the ball to this left-hand side where Churchill has a fair amount of room. Palumbi ahead of her. Doesn't need her. Skips past Bozanovska. Now uses Palumbi. Still Brittany Palumbi onto the left again. And Liana Hall once more in the way. The goalkeeper standing firm.
Yeah, well done. Great positioning by Liana Hall there. And well held up by Bozanovska at the first point. And again, Monaro keeping that shape. So we spoke earlier about them coming out of the line and creating problems for themselves by opening pockets. And they seem to have corrected that really well. And although, yep, sure, CFC is still getting through with some passing, it doesn't quite seem to be with the same ease as it was before.
Goldstein, her turn to run at the defence. Her turn to take on Bozanovska. Lovely ball inside. No one's read it, though, from Canberra FC's point of view. Just looking back to that chance for Brittany Palumbi, do you think she needs to take it a little bit earlier? It did open up on the left foot.
Yeah, it did. And, yep, you could argue you should take a bit earlier. The other option is that cutback or that square across goal. It is a tight angle, and if you have the quick look and you see Hall covering that front post like she did, it makes it very, very difficult. You've got to sort of hit it in the postage stamp of that left-hand corner, and we know that they've got runners in the centre of the box. So a little bit of decision-making that can be changed. Yep, the early shot or the cutback across, and you just... From a CFC supporter point of view, not me personally, but those in the stands, you just hope that sort of thing doesn't come back to bite you later on, because Monaro do look threatening when they can get Skinner on the ball.
That ball's out of the ground from Bozanovska. Someone needs to go and fetch it later on. We had problems at the Riverside yesterday when 3 of the balls were just smashed over this fence, and we had about a 5-minute delay while we found a match ball.
Maybe the one part of the redevelopment that they missed, a little bit of a higher net.
Or a dome.
Or a dome, yes.
Be nice and warm if they had a dome.
Be perfect.
Here's Whiteley. Again, doing well, the midfielder.
Yeah, certainly bring a real physical presence in there, and you know, there's a couple of youngsters who probably aren't quite used to this level yet, but she brings a really good physical presence. Well cut out there.
Yeah, Grant was in there to send it forward. Unfortunately, couldn't find someone in a Panthers shirt, and that's asking a lot from Agnew from Vasta.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's many players in the competition who would have been able to pull that one down. Maybe the height of Grace Gill's the only one there.
Grant with a throw. After a nervy start, she settled quite nicely, the left back, or the left of the back three, I should say.
Yeah, she was a little bit terrorised by Goldstein early, and do you know what? There's many in that club and that company across town, and she settled in well, and you can see her positioning that she understands they've got 3 at the back, but she's setting herself in a way that if they're going to play the ball out to that right winger, they've got to play it over the top, and they've got to execute it perfectly, or she's going to step in and cut it out.
Vasta under pressure. Hagen sends it forward. And you might think it was a bit of a win that they've switched Goldstein inside and put Chow out onto her right-hand side.
Yeah, certainly the more familiar positioning for Chow. The only concern that you might have is, does Goldstein get lost? And as I say that, she stands on the ball and she's not lost at all.
Stands on the ball and actually beats a player and finds bunker. And there's Compton showing her quality once again. Bozanovska's ball forwards. The back 3 or 4, however you want to say that they're lining up at the moment, when Bozanovska drops in to make it 4. They've done very well. They've been put under pressure, but they've only conceded once.
Yeah, they're holding firm, and this is where Monaro have got to hold their line here, just in that situation where they haven't before, and they've done that very, very well, so full credit to them.
And there's Grant again, looking to find Edwards. McLaughlin's there to knock it back to Vasta. 10 minutes to half-time. Canberra FC 1, Monaro Panthers 0. The goal after 9 minutes from Rachel Goldstein. We thought at that stage we might be feeling a few more, but the Panthers have done exceptionally well since then. And as it emphasised there by Caitlin Joy, taking it away from Mel Bunker, but then running into the considerably more physical presence of Jamie Berkeley.
Yeah, it's great work by Joy to win the one-on-one contest with Bunker and then start to drive away. But you're right, Russ, that back line and that defensive shape's been a lot better from Monaro, and there's not those players running out of line. Sure, Bunker got in between the two centre-backs, but they were well positioned to cover that, and that gives them a nice foundation to build off too. If you've got the confidence in your back line, you're probably a little more willing to take a risk as you go forward too.
Here's Goldstein. Loads of room for her to run into. Can she pick the right pass? No is the answer to that one. And Panthers, of course, worth reminding, missing perhaps their most influential player in Alicia Moiranen today as well. She makes a big difference to this team, especially with her ability to drive at goal and that left foot. Incredible. We've seen her score an absolute couple of pearlers this season from distance.
Yeah, she's got a special left foot, and her drive through the middle of that park, potentially in that number 10 attacking midfielder role, is something that they are absolutely missing. And it's a shame, because with Sturton and Skinner ahead of her, it'd be really interesting to see how they would have combined.
I wouldn't say Nick Brozanic will be a little bit disappointed at the moment. He'll be a little bit nervy. It's only 1-0. They've had the better of the play, and they look like adding to that goal. But until they do, Panthers are still in with a shout.
Yeah, but frustration is I think how Nick will really be feeling. He's had the better of the play. They've created opportunities, but they haven't really locked the game down to the extent that he would have liked to on the scoreboard or in general play. They're still creating those opportunities, and that's where Galich not being here for CFC at the back, I think, really makes a difference. A good chance for CFC to see.
Well, here they go with Chow into the penalty area. Bunker's coming square. Chow elects to shoot, and Hall was well positioned again.
Yeah, it's sort of an if and a maybe there from Chow. I might shoot, I might square it off, and not really making a decision one way or the other. And that seems to be the key route to goal at the moment for CFC now. They the little 1-2s to get the wide player, and then potentially a shot or a cross on goal.
Churchill, Bunker's peeled away. Plenty of time to pick an option. Goes back to Churchill. Skinner's done well there to shut off the pass back to McLaughlin. This kind of moves that sometimes you don't see as a supporter. Gill lets it run, but only as far as Sturton. Now Whiteley. Churchill in ahead of Fulanetto. And Compton beaten to it by Palumbi. Goes down under the challenge. And a free kick right on the edge of the penalty area.
This is a Grayscale special, this spot here, and Compton just getting it slightly wrong. Palumbi just nipped in there and won the ball first. No malice in there, but just think Monaro might have missed a trick a little bit earlier before they went down the other end with Sturton getting the ball. If she could have played Skinner early instead of looking to find, I think it was Whiteley, that would have been a really good opportunity. And now I've given Grayscale a rap. She's not even going to take the free kick.
Well, Mel Bunker searching for goals. She talks about it earlier on. She's eyes have lit up at this possibility. Only 3 in the wall for the Panthers. And Bunker will look to take advantage of that. There's a big gap to that right, isn't there? If she can bend it round, Hall will need to be on her toes. Here is Bunker. Clips her onto the far post. Fools us all. It's still an opportunity. There's the header, and it's drifted just wide. I think it was Berkeley that came in on the far post. Well, thought that for all money the shot was on.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't take the shot. And but Berkeley, again, we've seen her a lot this year, just drift into that back post late and pinch goals here and there. But well up by Compton to make the first contest. But yeah, I guess maybe something a little bit different to think about. And the next time they're in that position, maybe that's when the shot's on, just trying to put a bit of doubt in the keeper's mind.
Well, Bunker's won it back straight away. Real opportunity this. Palumbi, Gill square. Berkeley, good recovery though from the Panthers to get players behind the numbers behind the ball, and they've forced a turnover.
Yeah, just a little bit on the heels there, Agnew. That's the right ball to play from Berkeley, and maybe not recognising the cues that as that ball comes through the middle, that's the time for you to go. And on the goal kick there, the pass was just a little bit sluggish there from Hall, who's been very, very good today. Now, it's very nitpicky of me, but if we're going to play out from the back, we've got to make sure that first ball is absolute cracker.
Giving it away again here. Churchill rampaging forward, trying her luck. Bending away from goal. Alice Churchill showing us what she's made of in the front third.
Yeah, eyes would have absolutely lit up there. It's not often a left-back picks the ball up in the middle and can drive towards goal. It would have been adrenaline pumping through the veins and couldn't quite bring it down and have control.
Bunker. It's all right to left at the moment. Brings it into Palumbi. Again, well marshalled by Compton, who gets rid of that. 6 minutes to half time. Still only 1-0.
And I think if Monaro can keep it here at 1-0, they'll be satisfied with that. I mean, they've been under pressure. They've held strong. We've seen Ian Worthington up off the bench giving some instructions, and I think he's been able to make some adjustments and really affect the game. And Monaro, to their credit, are holding well.
Kept the shape extraordinarily well. Here's Gill. Space for Agnew. Grant's gone out to try and shut it down. And stand up Agnew. Forces her back to Goldstein. Squares it off to Berkeley. Will she try her luck from range? Well, she did. It's come off Goldstein. Fallen inadvertently for Palumbi, who hits one on the turn and rolls one in the corner. Great finish from Brittany Palumbi. Spins on it and bashes it in, and FC double their lead.
Yeah, I thought it had all fallen apart when the shot's been taken and it's ricocheted into their own player, and then Palumbi there on the shot and the turn, and Hall probably unsighted and would have only picked that up late and right in that bottom corner. And you can't argue that's probably CFC are well worth their 2-0 lead at the moment, and have butchered a couple of chances. But again, we saw Monaro bounce back strong from goal 1. What do they do with goal 2? And they're certainly still in a position to hold their heads up high.
Quality finish from Brittany Palumbi, though. Just spins on it in the area and guides the ball really into the far corner. Past Liana Hall, no chance. Bit lucky the way it reached her, but once she reacted well.
Yeah, that's right. And we talk about taking the chances when they come up in that opportunity. And there's not many goalkeepers in town who are going to be able to stop that from going in the back corner, especially with all the busyness and chaos that was in front. And goalkeepers only going to see it so late.
A great example of, well, is that you don't have to take the lever off the football to get it on target. You just pick your corner, you place it with a bit of power, and it's a goal all the way. 21 now for the season for Brittany Palumbi.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Russ. The amount of times we've probably seen players come in 1v1 and they've skied it because they've tried to kick it as hard as they can to make sure, and they leave 10 goals behind in a season.
Well, Palumbi only needs another 6 to match last week. Or last game, I should say. Here she goes again, taking on Compton, who's battled with her very well today. Got past her on this occasion, though. Palumbi into the penalty area. Opportunity again, but Hall clutches that superbly. Great goalkeeper.
Great positioning by Hall there. She sort of set low, and as Palumbi cut inside, she anticipated the cross and was in really good position. Showed good hands there. Absolutely really strong hands, and relieves a bit of pressure with a long ball down the field.
Hagen. Whiteley gets in the way. Looking to create something in the front third for Monaro. It's perhaps any part of the game at the moment that's not been reasonably good for Ian Worthington and his group. Well, Goldstein's robbed Whiteley here, and she might put Bunker through the middle. Palumbi wants it further left, but Bunker can't find her.
Yeah, just a little too much there by Whiteley on the ball. Probably had the opportunity to play in through the middle and a little bit higher, but took the touch backwards and looked to play the ball backwards. A little bit negative, and when they're in those areas, they've got to be a little more positive to go forward. It's tough, but if you're going to make CFC pay, you've got to be really positive once you do have a hold of that ball.
Berkeley looks for Churchill. Now Palumbi. Again, Compton comes across to tackle her. And this time Compton wins the duel. Honours fairly even, you'd say, between those two.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a really good battle there, and Palumbi sure with the goal, but Compton's presence has really shut her out of a few more.
Here's Palumbi looking for more. Into the penalty, a great feat from Brittany Palumbi. Onto that left foot, fizzes it a goal, and finds her second in a matter of minutes. Great feat to get into the position, and the finish was devastating.
Absolutely great finish from Palumbi, and we spoke earlier about the different decision-making. Do you shoot a little bit earlier? And if you're going to take that shot, it's got to be right in that top left-hand corner, and that's exactly what she's done there. Didn't need any assistance, and quality feeder. She's gone 1v1, and that little two-touch between her left and her right foot to get that separation. She's driven it home. Hall may be a little disappointed as she got her hand to it, but absolutely quality finish there from Palumbi and setting herself off on the way.
10 in 3 games now for Brittany Palumbi, and reeling in Hayley Taylor-Younger. The Golden Boot race will intensify before the end of the season. She might not be done here this afternoon, of course, Palumbi. Here's Gill. Bunker. Chow. Another good move. Good ball in too, but the deflection off of the covering Sturton. Takes it to Hall. It's been a bit harsh, that on the Panthers, those 2 quick goals. But that's what Canberra FC can do to you.
Yeah, that's right. And it's probably a little bit of build-up of fatigue as well. They've just been under pressure relentlessly for almost the entire half with not much relief. And at some point, the cracks start to appear. And they did well. They adjusted well after that first goal, but 2 quick ones. And the concern going forward is, can they readjust?
Well, they are ruthless and fairly relentless, this Canberra FC team. When they sense blood, they're more than happy to apply the pressure and try looking for more goals. Here's Palumbi. And here's Churchill on the overlap. Could she find something in the middle? Good piece of defending from Whiteley to come across and block that for a corner. And that's the way it should be. You shouldn't be easing off, really, should you? More respect to the opposition if you keep going.
That's exactly right. And coaches preach that, you start from whistle one to whistle end. And if you've got the opportunity to pile the goals on, then you pile the goals on, because at some point, and you know as a former striker, Russ, they dry up at some point, so you might as well get on them while you can.
No sign of them drying up for Brittany Palumbi at the moment. She's on a hot streak. Looking to add another from this corner. Berkeley swings it in. It was over the head of Gill. Falls for Goldstein. Straight back into the danger area. It's deflected and in, but the flag was up again for offsides. I think it might have been turned in by Hagen inside the 6-yard box from an offside position.
Yeah, so it's 2 goals there ruled out from offside in this first half. But again, that set piece floating out the back to Goldstein. And she'll probably be a little bit disappointed with the connection, I think, Goldstein, given the quality of player that she is and the goals that she scored this year. She'd be looking to bury that in the far post.
Should tell you she picked out Hagen in the 6-yard box. Here's Chow. Here's Goldstein on that right foot. Better connection this time. Great ball across the 6-yard box. Good piece of defending as well. Fulanetta gets rid of it, and Aisha Strutt says that'll do for the first half, and it's been mainly one-way traffic, and we've probably got the half-time score we expected, considering the dominance that Canberra FC have had.
Yeah, absolutely. Canberra FC, good value for their 3-0 half-time lead, and you wouldn't have expected much less given the way that they've gone to play. But credit to Monaro. Ian Worthington came with his set, with his 3-5-2, and for the most part, on occasions, it's held together reasonably well. And be interesting to see what tweaks, because 3-0, I think CFC will still be a bit of a frustrated figure in the dressing room, because 3-0 is probably not where they would have expected given the chances that they created.
Well, Rachel Goldstein's early goal threatened to open the floodgates, and 2 goals in 2 minutes from Brittany Palumbi have added to that at the break at Deakin Stadium. It's, as we expected, Canberra FC dominant for the most part. It's Canberra FC 3, Monaro Panthers 0. Welcome back to Deakin Stadium for the second half of the WNPL fixture between Canberra FC and Monaro Panthers. I'm Russ Gibbs, your commentator. Joining me as he did in the first half is Matt Moore. Matt, at half-time, Canberra FC in the ascendancy. Those two late goals from Brittany Palumbi giving them a 3-0 advantage. It's hard to see a way back in for the Panthers, but you just hope that they can keep the intensity up and it doesn't blow out.
Yeah, that's right. So you look around and you think their only outlet might be through potentially Skinner, but it's a long road because she's always 2v1 there. And the interesting thing will be whether Monaro stick to that 3-5-2. They came in with a game plan. If they're trying to build and look towards next year, then you stick with that plan and you build. And then on the opposite side with CFC, you've got control. Can they kick on? We spoke about them being ruthless and getting double digits a few times this year. I'll certainly be looking to do the same. Or does Nick Brosnich, the CFC coach, think finals are coming up? Maybe I try one or two different things so that I've got a plan B or a plan C in place come finals time if I need it.
He hasn't made any changes to his starting 11 as you would expect. And it also looks like the Panthers are as you were in the first half. In Worthington's bench full of youngsters today. Hoping we might see a couple of the young ones get a game in the second half. Kelly Sturton about to get us underway. Panthers attacking the goal to our left in this second half. Timmy Compton, who was probably their best player in the first 45 minutes, and it's hard to argue that she's been their best player all season, although Whiteley would have pushed her for those honours in the first half.
Yeah, Compton really solid at the back there and continued to have that battle with Palombi, and although she got the 2 goals, Compton was good value for that effort.
Goldstein, Sol Grant, an absolute dog's dinner there, and here's a chance for Sharon Chow right at the start of the second half, and there's goal number 4, and that's just the start that Ian Worthington side didn't want. CFC home and hosed.
Yeah, that's right. You'd think that absolutely wraps the game up there, and we've still probably got 43 minutes to go in the second half. But the one-touch play and the pressure on midfield, not quite there, but well done by Goldstein to turn her player, and we've slipped the ball through to Chow, who had a chance earlier and missed it. But she's buried that nicely into the bottom left-hand corner there, so full credit to CFC, and you feel like we're on our way.
Yeah. Lesson there for Georgia Grants. Absolutely skinned by the turn in midfield from Goldstein. As you mentioned, though, in the first half, wouldn't be the first or the last to suffer that fate. The Panthers need to regroup. 5th of the season for Sharon Chow, though. Started in the second half in the more central position where she started the game. Here's Berkeley advancing forward. Chow wants it again here and almost got in. Grant was there to cover. That was well won in the middle of the park by Bissell. Bozanovska's challenge. Here's Whiteley. Skinner, who was fairly isolated in that first 45 minutes. Now Palumbi peeled into the left-hand side. Chance for her to pick out a red shirt in the penalty area, perhaps. Gives the responsibility to Gill, who gets the free kick. A little nibble at the heels from Sophia Fulanetto, as Grace Gill was perhaps lining one up, and it's a free kick from a dangerous position, this one, if Palumbi swings it in.
Yeah, absolutely. You could see Gill there as she got clipped, throw their head back, thinking that she'd lost a little bit of the momentum and almost telling the referee that there was no advantage. It's time to give me the free kick. And we saw Berkeley sneak in the back post in the first half, so it'd be interesting to see whether they go with that tactic again.
Palumbi to deliver. Swings it in towards Gill, straight at goal, in fact. It's Goldstein, 2 fists away from Liana Hall. Hagen, Goldstein, Grant stands her up. Ball wide to Palumbi. Trying to get into the penalty area. Brittany Palumbi on a hat-trick. Compton blocks it to deny her at the expense of a corner.
Yeah, the Compton, the nemesis, back again to take away Palombi's glory. And good switch of play there from Goldstein out to Palombi, but Monaro just got be a little bit careful in and around the edge of that 18-yard box. They're really dropping off and letting CFC have all the play.
Palumbi with a set piece. It's high and hanging towards the far post. Nicely won by Joy. Hagen returns it with a great effort off the crossbar. Good save from Hall. That was dipping all the way from Krista Hagen, and Hall got 2 fists on it, I think, to push it onto the crossbar.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic shot by Hagen. A little bit higher on the pitch. We know she's playing centre-back today, but certainly not unaccustomed to being in those higher areas. And a great shot with really good dips, some nice technique, and full credit to Liana Hall there to get a touch on the crossbar there. And absolutely fantastic. And on her toes and not caught unaware. And CFC juggernaut continues to roll on.
Brilliant technique from Krista Hagen to control that on the chest and then send the volley goalwards. Would have been one of the goals of the season, but those pesky goalkeepers doing their job. Here's Grace Gill. Hagen looks a lot less bothered than I would have been if someone had saved that from me. Here's Agnew. Goldstein. Forcing FC wide. Chow, who scored the goal right at the start of the second half.
This is nice play by CFC here. They can see that they've blocked a deep block from Monaro, and they're just playing backwards now to try and drag them out and open up the space in behind, which they've done really well.
Churchill, pitting for offside, not given. Berkeley in midfield. Tries her luck from range, and Hall just dismissively sees that one wide.
Bit ambitious by Berkeley there, but has got the potential, but a little bit rushed. But yeah, CFC just circulating the ball around the back, trying to encourage Monaro to get out of that 18-yard box and open up the spaces in and around for them to expose. It'll be interesting to see whether Monaro bite continuously or whether they start to keep their block and set.
Nodded forward by Berkeley to Palumbi. Berkeley again. Palumbi once more into the channel as well. And the ball just raced away from her on this surface at Deakin Stadium. It's looking pretty good for this time of year. Yeah. Mind you, always looks pretty good here.
Yeah, that's right. The odd brown patch sometimes throughout the year that you see, but it's in quality condition here, and you'd be more than happy if you were playing here every single week. There's no doubt about that.
And they're expanding the changing rooms, building 2 extra ones in front of the existing changing rooms as well. So they'll have 4 changing rooms here at the stadium soon. Here's Goldstein. Opened up for her briefly. Got past Grant, but couldn't get past Joy. Here is Grant. Chow intercepts. Now Grace Gill. As I thought for Palumbi, you could probably hear a scream of anguish from Grace Gill. Not her best.
Yeah, credit to Palumbi for still believing she can get on the end of it. But just a little bit too heavy. It's too heavy for Britt. It's too heavy for most. But Grant with the turnover there, but she put enough pressure on Goldstein early for Goldstein to turn and create the turnover, and she's looking to find the right ball. So I still think encouraging debut for Grant there in Monaro Panthers.
Tough ask on debut, isn't it? Canberra FC away. Perhaps Eddie Belconnen away is a tougher ask.
Yeah, absolutely. But it shows the faith that the coaching staff have in her. If you're going to throw somebody in, you throw them in against the best and see what they're made of.
She's done herself proud this afternoon. Hands on hips at the moment, sucking in the big ones. They've had plenty to do, the back 4, or 5, or 3, depending on how they're lining up.
Yeah, and you can just see a slight change even from the Panthers when they've got the ball. You can see Darby Whiteley just sitting in the middle of the park on her own there, which is pleasing to see. It just adds a little bit of balance. So if they do turn the ball over, they've got immediate cover, or they've got a link to get out to the other side, which they didn't have in the first half.
Sturton penalised. Palumbi with the latest Canberra FC set piece. Grace Gill jogging forward to the edge of the penalty area. Goldstein there as well. Bunker looking to make a nuisance of herself, and all of it to naught because Brittany Palumbi has given one of her worst set pieces of the season.
Yeah, and just a couple of things from Canberra FC here. They've been a little bit sloppy, and that'll frustrate Nick Brosnich on the bench and his team. They'll be looking for something clinical, and they'll be looking to be ruthless, which they have been before. And sloppy play is not something that you want in the back end of this season, leading into finals.
Bunker chasing. No change out of Compton.
And I'm just thinking, Russ, if I'm a CFC player and we look at some of the players that are out, people like Galich and things like that, and you wonder if you start to get sloppy now and those players come back in and your training environment's competitive, you might find yourself on the outside looking in comes finals time in this first team. And everybody wants to play finals, but it doesn't matter if you've played 14 out of 16 games. If your last 2 are rubbish, the coach is probably not going to pick you.
We spoke to Chantal Jones prior to kickoff, and she's not going to be too far away. She might make an appearance in finals.
Yeah, and that would be a massive boost for them. We've seen her. We know how good she is as a goalkeeper. We know we've seen her as a number 9, and no doubt that if she gets right and she gets there, and CFC believe that she can add value, she'll be a huge emotional and mental boost for that team. which you can't put a price on.
Yet another free kick. Palumbi sends it into the area. Compton's touch. Bozanovka prods it away. Bissell gets involved. Skinner looks to prod it wide. Edwards was there, but Agnew's picked it up for Canberra FC. She'll take on Grant. Gill swung in towards where Palumbi was lurking, but Sturton was back to help out the defence.
It was nice work by Sturton too there. She stepped in front of Palumbi and didn't necessarily commit to winning to the ball, but made sure that Palumbi couldn't, and she's able to get a clearance. So showing all her experience there. Well done.
Once again, as they did in the first half, they conceded early, but they've shut up shop since then, and defensively they've looked pretty secure once more.
Yeah, it looked much better. I mean, they absolutely got carved apart for that first goal, but they really have condensed it, and you can see now that they're starting to load up a little bit more through that midfield and try and keep a bit of pressure on. But their execution when they've got the ball, you know, albeit possibly a bit of fatigue, is really doing them no favours, and that's where they need their rest. They need some sustained possession.
You're watching live football on Bar TV Sports, Women's National Premier League from the National Capital, and Canberra FC in total control, 4-0 up over the Panthers. Looking to add to their goal tally with Berkeley. Chow. Goldstein. Tries to curl one. It's fading away from goal all the time, though, from Goldstein. Not a bad effort, though.
Yeah, it's not, and you wouldn't often criticise Goldstein for shooting there, but from a personal point of view, you'd like to see as that ball hits Goldstein, Agnew scream around the outside of her. She's got a massive channel to work in, and if Goldstein can play her in, then she's got the ability to cut back, and we've got a simpler shot. So, you know, possibly next time, the next opportunity, we'd like to see Agnew running on.
In the meantime, the Panthers are making a change. Zoe Miller's come on for Elena Bozanovska. The fullback.
Yeah, busy day for Bozanovska with Palumbi down that side, and she's had to do a lot of work and trying to get a little bit higher to support the front two, and then having to come back in and almost creating a back four at times in that second half. So another good shift from her.
And Miller's going to need to get involved straight away. Here's a chance for Berkeley to send it in towards bunker. Compton once again. One woman wall, I should say. Sturton looking to try and bring Skinner into the game. She's ploughed a lone furrow out front. Skinner, here she is. Not much ahead of her. And she's robbed of the ball from Chow.
Yeah, she's just turned back into trouble there. Skinner, you'd almost prefer to see her take the space on and instead of stop and turn.
Whiteley looks to squeeze it through towards where Edwards was lurking. Rare touch for Vasta.
Yeah, and Russ, this is where you'll see ball starts with Vasta as they try and suck Monaro higher up the park to open up the space for people like Goldstein and Palumbi in behind.
Great challenge out from Grant. Thumping into it with Agnew, who caught her late. Yeah. Free kick to the Panthers.
And you mentioned no fear from the youngsters earlier, and Grant certainly continued to show no fear and make a good account of herself. And Monaro not afraid to step up and take the challenge on as CSC try to suck him forward. They're willing to put it in.
We know Caitlin Joy's got a fair old whack on her. He lifts that one in towards the danger area. Nodded clear by Churchill. Miller's first involvement. To go round Churchill. She's done well there, Zoe Miller. Still going, the young substitutes. Ran out of options. Hagen sends it up towards bunker. Danger on the break here. Great flick on from bunker. Here's Palumbi. Goldstein wants it ahead. And it's just asking too much. Well, Rachel Goldstein, lovely flick though from bunker to see where Palumbi made the run.
Yeah, great work by Compton there too. So we mentioned the 1v1 at the back with CFC playing three high and Monaro playing just the three centre backs, and you could see the advantage of that overload as Bunker's flicked it on to Palumbi, but Compton's back there to put enough pressure on to maybe change the focus of the board as our tower rattles.
Sophia Bissell just drills it into the commentary position. It's still standing, fortunately. Berkeley, back to Agnew. McLaughlin lifts it forward towards where Goldstein is. Bit of a miscommunication from Goldstein and bunker. Through to Hall. Just over half an hour to go.
It's a nice little bit of pressure there from Monaro, and you can even see as they came through and they pushed in the centre back, and Skinner trying to take away the ball into the middle, which has forced them to go long and created a turnover. They're the little things that will give Ian Worthington a lot of joy and a lot of hope for the future of the team.
Goldstein steps inside Grants. Aisha Strutt with a touch.
It's a good touch. Good first
Knocked
touch.
her over.
Killed it. It's a quality first touch.
Little 1-2 with Rachel Goldstein.
Yeah. Not sure CFC need the help.
Killed it stone dead. She's been out for a couple of weeks as well. Aisha Strutt, I understand. It's her first game back for a little bit. Sturton, who's done a sterling job defensively. Here's Churchill. Chance here for Canberra FC again. Gill on the edge of the box. Shapes to shoot. Opens it up. Now does shoot. A curler, and it's clipped the post. Brilliant effort from Grace Gill. Woodwork comes to the rescue for the Panthers. Otherwise it was 5. Still with FC. Berkeley in towards the far post. That's taken a wicked deflection. Is over for the corner. But Grace Gill showing her quality.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just drifting across the goal and able to put her foot on the ball and just cause that defender to stop. Sucks him right in and drives it forward and then whips it over. And the post, the only thing denying her there. And Grace Gill showing her quality and what she's still capable of doing at the park. And like you said, getting better with age. I know she likes a fine wine or two, and she's aging well, just like her favourite vineyards.
Incredibly, only got 1 goal this season, Grace Gill.
That's amazing.
It's because everybody else is stealing them up front, I think. Here's Palumbi, who's got plenty. Goldstein also has plenty. Treads on the ball for a moment, and Joy lifts it up towards Skinner. McLaughlin's back there. Churchill. Chow tries to send it out towards Berkeley, who'd taken up a good position on the left. Miller again does well to win the ball. Good introduction by the young fullback. Here's Churchill. Palumbi. Plenty of red shirts forward in this attack again. Here's Grace Gill. It's opened up for Gill. Real opportunity. And a good block from Joy. And Miller again. Thumping into the challenge. Berkeley. Gill flags up for offside. Defensively, it's been excellent. And Zoe Miller has made a fantastic introduction.
Yeah, she's come in with bags of energy there, and she's been able to affect the play really, really well, and created something going forward, but absolutely making her presence felt defensively as well. And she's somebody that we've seen before, and there's potential there for Miller. And again, it speaks to what Monaro are trying to build, and if they can keep this group together, there's potentially some promising signs.
Bunker and Chow off. Uida and Tamaro on.
And Jordan
Edwards has gone off for Monaro Panthers, and I think it's Shania Settin who's come on, the young under-15.
And Jordan Udger for the CFC team making a comeback. She'd been out for a while with Cinders Moses as well, so pleasing to see somebody with a lot of talent and a really good eye for goal, and somebody that I certainly wouldn't want to be defending 1v1 given the opportunity.
Has scored a goal this season, Jordan Uida. Tamaro goes into the back. Uida out to the wing.
And I just wonder, Russ, if one of the really pleasing things for Nick Brosnich and his coaching staff will be that Grace Gill's come back in, and Grace Gill's played well, but she hasn't been the dominant figure of the match. So they've played well without her, and they know that they can play well without her, and there's probably been too much of a reliance of her in the past, but she's slotted back in, and everybody else has continued to lift their game and not looked just for Grace to do things. And I think that'll be a really pleasing sign and something that's really positive for them going forward into finals.
It's a good point. Sometimes you rely on your experienced players. Here's Agnew. Hagen's ball forward. Chases on here for Rachel Goldstein. Uida's gone square. She's got Berkeley in there as well. If she can pick one of them out, Goldstein. Took a bit too long.
Oh.
And then picked out perhaps the wrong ball.
Yeah.
Here's Churchill. Looks to squeeze it through. Palumbi has managed to stay on side somehow, and once again, it's Compton in the way.
Yeah, Goldstein there, maybe too many options and not really picking the right one. And then at the time, she's kind of delivered. She's just delivered for the sake of delivering and not really picking a player out or a person out. And that can sometimes be the danger, is you've got that ability 1v1 and the speed, is that you drive and you assume you're going to get beyond. But as you don't, if the support's there, can you identify it and find it?
Well, Uida was completely unmarked on the edge of the 6-yard box. If she could have squeezed it across. Corner comes in towards Goldstein. Good clearance by Joy. Gill. And that's off Joy again for another corner, on this time on the near side. Pressure continuing to mount. 26 minutes to play.
The Monaro have done well off the corners. I mean, the first one was a bit hairy with Goldstein unmarked at the back post, but they've actually committed and challenged well on every other one that's coming through. So again, that importance and that commitment and those learnings are coming through.
Pretty Palumbi with this latest one on the right side for a left footer. Good ball in. Chested clear by Joy. Gill finds Goldstein. Gill wants more. Churchill. Hagen's there. Good ball out wide as well to Oida. She'll take on Grant. Hagen. Promising signs this. Bissell went across and tripped herself up, unfortunately. Giving Hagen the room she needs to cross the ball in, but there's Compton again. Colossal performance from Timmy Compton. As Hagen drills it in. Compton half cleared. Berkeley with the effort, takes a deflection and drops over Liana Hall. The deflection helped it on its way, you'd think, but it's a 5th goal for Canberra FC. And Jamie Berkeley, wearing number 5, gets goal number 5.
Yeah, they break through that black and green wall at the end there, and Berkeley willing to take the shot on. And one of those unfortunate things where you get that pressure on and the deflection, it just had the perfect amount of dip to get over Hall. Hall couldn't quite get there and do anything about it, but CFC continuing to pile on that pressure, and Berkeley, in all honesty, showing some reasonable technique there to try and take that shot on as well. You know, it's taken a deflection, but the fact that she's got the technique and the confidence to strike that ball in the way that she did is a real credit to her. And CFC notch another one up.
12 for the season for Jamie Berkeley from midfield, 8 in the league, 4 in the cup. Again, a great return from a player who's not necessarily the first person you think of when you think of goals. But as you say, great technique, was helped slightly by the deflection. You have to feel for Liana Hall, the one part of the goal that she was never getting to.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, Hall may have conceded 5 along with the rest of the team today, but she's actually had a quite a significant game and been really effective. She's cut out a lot of cross balls and meant that CFC probably aren't another 4 or 5 ahead, to be honest.
Still 23 minutes or so to go, or 24 minutes to go. Here's Hagen. Grant got a toe on it. Joy can only send it into touch. You'd hope it doesn't blow out for the sake of the Panthers, because defensively they've been excellent.
Yeah, that's right. And the danger is that defensively they've found some gaps and they've filled and they've made adjustments and they've kept the commitment going. But fatigue in that last 20 minutes, and they've already made 2 changes. They've got 1 left, but how do the bodies hold up towards the end? You think of Compton and Joy and young Grant here have had to do a lot of work in the game so far. Are they able to sustain that for the remaining 23 minutes that are left, or do they just start to run out of legs?
Berkeley, who got the latest goal. One's Palumbi. Churchill on the overlap. Chance for her to deliver something into the penalty area. Compton, though, as she has been for most of the afternoon, gets a foot in. Here's Fuller Neto. Berkeley picks the pass for Palumbi, whose ball in was cleared by Joy. Gill. Laura Agnew. She'll take on Grant. Into the area here, Agnew. And it might fall for Grace Gill. They're lining up to have a go. Great feet from Gill, and then she places the shot wide of goal. Did the hard part. Couldn't quite find the finish.
Yeah, we mentioned before that Lara Agnew had missed a cue to overload and overlapped the wide player. She certainly didn't miss it that time and streaked past the defence and squared that ball up. And a great turn from Gill. As you said, Rose, did all the hard work, and you can see the frustration on her face as that drifts wide.
Sturton brings it down nicely. Bissell couldn't get in there, and Berkeley stole it away. Hagen finds Churchill. Goldstein and Palumbi ahead. Picks the option of Palumbi into the box here. Here's another chance for Gill, perhaps. But the pass wasn't great from Palumbi and it allowed Caitlin Joy to step across.
Yeah, I'm surprised Palumbi didn't pull the trigger there, to be honest, given some of the goals that she scored today. We think back to the first one where she span and buried it into the bottom corner, and then one where she's put in the top corner. I would have thought that was a great opportunity for her to nail another one.
That was her exchanging passes with Gill. Churchill Lovely delivery, but Hall watches it all the way. Panthers shot stopper has had a good game today. Finds Whiteley, but Berkeley wins it back straight away, and that's the disappointing thing for Ian Worthington, is that as well as his defence does, it's coming back way too quickly.
Yeah, we mentioned in the first half, Monaro not being able to get pressure in that midfield. The midfield three, or the central midfield three of CFC, just being able to put pressure on and win that ball, and that's unfortunately something that's continued in the second half, and that makes it hard. That's why we talk about the fatigue factor at the back end of the game. If you're continually turning the ball over, and you're continually under pressure, not just physically but mentally, you start to drift, and it's a good pinch by Skinner, who's away to put pressure on Tamaro.
Chance for Skinner to run into the area. Tamaro, who's had nothing to do since he's come on, does the first thing she needs to do well, which is block the shot from Skinner.
Yeah, it's well done by Skinner in a 1v1 situation, and she's pinched that ball and run off. Potentially, maybe you'd like to see her, if she had her time again, maybe get closer to Tamaro, take the game on, or be a little bit closer to drive that shot. But good to see that she's still battling through and hasn't lost it, given the amount of ball that she hasn't received today.
Panthers trying to find something. Might be a consolation, but they'll keep pushing. Delivery in towards the goal, but Vasta collects it. It's fair to say with 20 minutes to go that FC are going to win. We move on to 32 points, move within 2 points of Belconnen at the top of the ladder, although they have played 2 games more. More importantly, I guess, they'll be 7 clear of Canberra United Academy, having played 1 game more.
Yeah, and that all-important battle for second spot really takes an interesting turn in the last few weeks, with the Academy, I think, playing 13 and this being CFC's 14th game. And if you can get that second spot and you play Belconnen, you pinch something against Belconnen, you're in the grand final. And it can become an absolute vital and first week non-elimination.
Joy swings that one into the penalty area. A little touch on that, I think, from McLaughlin, was there? I think there was. It would be a corner for the Panthers. Canberra FC claiming they didn't get a touch on it. I thought there may have been something. Off the ponytail, perhaps. Yeah,
it looked like there was a bit of a nick off something there, and Joy with a good delivery in there too, and putting it in, so enough pressure that CFC had to do something with it. And interesting to see how Monaro approached it.
Is this their first corner of the match? I don't remember them having one.
Yeah, I think it is there. I think it is. They'll certainly had a few throws in the corner areas, but certainly not their first corner. And
I'm surprised they're not setting Compton up, or they are now.
Yeah.
A late run in. Caitlin Joy on the near post. Compton hanging around the penalty spots.
Big gamble by Monaro too. They've left 2 at the back, and CFC have left 3 high, so they're underloaded if this comes out.
Well, they're going for it. Ball swung in there towards Compton. It's nodded clear. Break might be on if Oida can get there first. She does. Now, can she pick the right pass? Good one to Goldstein. Loads of space out left-hand side for Palumbi. If it gets to her, Miller trying to make sure it doesn't. And Zoe Miller done. Again gets in the way, and she's done brilliantly since she's come on.
She'll be asking for a start next week, I think. I mean,
why not?
And given that they were 3, it was 3v2 at the back, and she's played that very well. She's encouraged the ball to Palombi, but actually taken it away as it arrives on her first touch, and that's
classy ball from Tamaro.
Yeah, and a great touch from Udra on that first pass.
Decent ball from Hagan as well. Here's Miller again. Needs to be on her toes. Doesn't have to force it away from Palumbi. Concedes the corner, but that's good defensive play again.
Yeah, and you're right, Russell. Great ball from Tamaro, and that's what she brings in that back half as well, an extra ball playing ability, and we've seen her play in in that defensive midfield role sometimes as well, so it brings a little bit extra security and a little bit of control at the back.
Brittany Palumbi with yet another corner for Canberra FC. Again, 6 red shirts in and around the penalty area. It's gone to Churchill at the near post. She met it with enough, but couldn't direct it on target.
Yeah, nice flat delivery there from Palumbi, and a little bit of a change up from the loopier one in towards that back post, and well tacked, and Goldstein will probably be a little bit disappointed she didn't hit the target there, especially under no pressure. But good to see a change up too.
Have to be honest, Matt, I do like these 2 p.m. kickoffs. Doesn't get too cold, does it? We've only got 17 minutes to go, and the sun's still out.
Well, I've still got my sunglasses on. It's a magical day of football. I'm very happy.
Brilliant weather for football.
Yeah, if Capital Football are listening, 2 o'clock's the way to go.
I'm sure they are. You have some clout, surely, mate.
I'm all talk, mate. I've got no power. What can I tell you?
Sure the club's enjoyed as well. I'm sure the players do as well. Ball swung in and flicked on by Goldstein. Not going to trouble Hall.
More time to get home for that Sunday roast too, Russ.
Guess any people that maybe aren't too happy are the parents of the first game of the day.
Yeah.
They have to start a little bit earlier.
That's a very good point, yeah. And I apologise to them.
Here's Settin, looking to take on Agnew. Oida's charging to keep it in, but can't. And Georgia Grant will take the throw in for the Panthers.
You can just interesting to see the CFC setup here as they really start to narrow off and close down this side, but they leave Palombi out on the open. So they've got a deliberate outlet on the outside, hoping to win that ball and change that point really quickly. And just one more note, sorry, Russ, at Compton there, you can just might be able to hear in the background yelling, "We don't give up, we don't give up." And that's really positive signs from somebody who's had a great game so far.
Great ball that from Berkeley to pick out Gill, and that's an equally good ball to set Palumbi racing clear on goal. It's a real chance for a hat-trick for Brittany Palumbi, and she is denied by Liana Hall, who not only stands strong, but clutches the ball and holds on to it too.
Yeah, great work by Hall. And we just spoke about how CFC narrow it off, and they've left Palumbi high and wide as their outlet, and they've used her there, and she'll be extremely disappointed she didn't finish that. She's hit it almost straight at Hall there, but full credit to her to hold on to it, and again shows her quality that she brings to the game.
When she pulled back that left foot, you thought hat-trick for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But credit to Hall. Great save again.
She better hope Ash hasn't picked up 3 or 4 today.
Here's Goldstein. They don't mind their little banter on social media as well, those two. Great to see Ash Palumbi doing well at APL Leichhardt. Still banging in the goals. Hagen. Gill's touch. Finds Churchill. Berkeley pulled off intelligently into a little pocket of space. Palumbi. Goldstein. Hagen. Palumbi, brilliant build-up. Is this the moment for Brittany Palumbi? It's dragged wide of goal again. I think either Hall got a touch or it came off of Compton, either one of them, because it's a corner. But once again, Palumbi is denied. Yeah,
nice little interchange and one-touch play there to get Palumbi in behind, and credit to Compton. I think as Palumbi went to take the shot the first time, Compton's actually got a touch and made her readjust again and get the second shot, but that elusive hat-trick still waiting for Palumbi.
She'll be wondering how she's not got it so far. What she has got is another corner, another chance to swing in a devilishly good delivery towards the far post. And it's cleared by Folaneto. Pressure's still on though, as Canberra FC with Alice Churchill. She'll no doubt try and launch this into the danger zone.
Yeah, Monaro, clear the corner and the danger well again there. So they've managed that well.
Berkeley turns. Compton drills it into Gill, who recovers quickly and then bends one towards the far post, and that wasn't far away either from Grace Gill. Still searching for her goal.
Still searching, looking to add to the second goal to the tally for the year. And, they're running a bit of a gauntlet there with Monaro. The longer you leave Gill around the edge of that 18-yard box, the more likely she is to pop one in. But, again, scrambling defence from Monaro, and you can't argue. Compton said we don't give up, and they're certainly not.
Hasn't scored since a round 4 13-2 win here against Wagga City Wanderers, Grace Gill, which is remarkable considering she scored absolute bucketful last year. She's had her injuries, though, and been away for a bit. But what will please her more than anything is that they're not relying on her goals this year. There's plenty of other goals around, including from Brittany Palumbi. Here's Churchill. Goldstein in there. Compton once again in the way. Churchill, good delivery. Goldstein arriving, and it's come off the back of Georgia Grant. Not sure how much she knew about that, but it's a good piece of defence.
Yeah, she's turned and backed that one away there, and maybe just mistimed the attempted header. But she was in the right position too. So again, from a youngster to be in the right position and willing to attempt to attack that ball, that's pleasing signs going forward.
We just come short. Kelly Sturton's come with her to make sure it doesn't go short, and Palumbi's going to deliver this again towards the 5 shirts lurking in there. Hall comes, gets a hand on it. It's back with Palumbi. Chance to reload towards the far post. Goldstein was the target. Comes for Gill. Berkeley. Lazy swing of the left foot. Right idea to try and lift it towards the far post.
Yeah, a little bit disappointing there from Berkeley. She had far more time than that, and CFC not quite on the same wavelength as Berkeley as she whips it in.
Tiana Malnar is coming on for the final 11 minutes for Lara Agnew. Another Canberra FC youngster. Trot across to the right-hand side.
Yeah, it's good to see a couple more youngsters getting another run again today, and CFC giving them an opportunity to show their wares.
Sophia Bissell's come off for the Panthers. Snuck in a substitute at the same time. I think this is Bella Wallace that's come in, one of the under-15s into midfield.
Nice little bit of 1v1 defending there from Monaro, and just forcing it wide, and
so 115-yard for another for the Panthers. Compton back to Hall. Whiteley will jump to challenge with Hagen. Falls for Gill. Struck down again. Second time. Looked like simulation on that occasion, though, so probably needs to card herself. Here's Goldstein. Gill. Setting in with the challenge. And again, the youngster snapping at the heels of Grace Gill. Uida finds Goldstein. One-on-one with Joy momentarily. Gill. Spaced out wide for Churchill. Not Grace Gill's best pass, but Churchill's retrieved the situation. Little apology from Gill. Berkeley finds Churchill. Gets away from Sturton. But Compton, her positioning's brilliant. Just every single time. She seems to be like a magnet. Ball in. Here's a real chance for Gill. Must be. And is. Finally, Grace Gill gets on the score sheet. Found a pocket of space in the area. And once she brought it down, there was only ever going to be one outcome. It's 6-0.
Yeah, great relief there for Grace Gill, and a fantastic ball in there from Berkeley. And Gill with that ability to just ghost in, and a quality first touch that set her up. And she's buried in that top corner, and nothing that Hall can do about that one. And the Grace Gill goal that we've all come to know and love really stamps the authority and probably signs off what's been a very good day for CFC today going forward. So that box is ticked, and can Palombi get 3? That's the other one that's missing.
8.5 minutes to find another. They got 7 at the Riverside against the Panthers earlier in the year. Can they repeat the feat? Palombi's got away from Miller. Berkeley. Gill. Hagen. Malnar. Her first involvement. Finds Gill. Although she doesn't mind a goal or two, Grace Gill should be relieved that she's finally tucked one away. Had plenty of chances. Good run that is from Skinner, and well found by Wallace. Skinner looks to swing it into the penalty area. Only had one to aim for, and it's landed in the side netting. But decent ball that from Bella Wallace.
Yeah, absolutely great ball from Bella Wallace to release Skinner, who's still working hard and still trying to find those channels to receive the ball. But you can just see a little bit of the fatigue that's come into the Monaro game, as there's only one striker there to support 5 CFC players, and the Monaro midfield are only just getting into position now, and hands on hips and breathing deeply.
Berkeley. Under pressure from Compton. Grant. Looking to pick a pass. And coolly done. And in the end, though, could only find Hagen, who sent it forward. Now Goldstein has got the pace to get here. Hall's come, though, and is quicker.
Yeah, great work by Hall there, and would have been easy for her to stay at home, especially given the goals that they've already conceded today. But full credit to her to come out, be on that front foot and really attack that ball, and it's another pleasing sign. Skinner again putting some more pressure on.
Tamaro goes back to Vasta. Skinner putting the pressure on the keeper as well, who does well. Picked up by Whiteley. Still looks full of energy, Darby Whiteley, somehow. Uida. Goldstein. Hagen's gone ahead. Oida down the line. That's a good ball from Goldstein. Chance for Jordan Oida to maybe pick someone out in the middle. It's Hagen. And still Hagen. Swings it towards that far post. No one gambled in a red shirt. And it harmlessly rolls wide.
Yeah, it's a good little interchange there, and you had Oida go down the line. You'd almost like to see her drive in. She's beaten the defender and maybe start to drive into the goal. And can she suck either Joy or Compton out to create an overload in the middle there? And nothing wrong with what she did, but food for thought. The next time, can we engage someone? And if nobody comes, well, you run in and bury it yourself.
Good ball from Jordan Oida to pick out the gap between the two defenders where Hagen was lurking with intent. Just over 5 minutes to go. Canberra well and truly have this one done and dusted. 6-0 up. But the Panthers far from disgraced. Wallace in midfield. Sturton still battling away. It's fair to say the veteran striker.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned Monaro far from disgrace, Russ, and they had a period at the back end of the second half where they conceded too quickly. But other than that, these goals have been very evenly spaced, and credit to Monaro for adjusting and holding firm, and Compton especially with her positioning and willingness to attack the ball has been outstanding.
Lovely touch from Goldstein, and here's Palumbi. Goldstein wants to return in the middle. It's swung across the far post, and here's Oida, and she tucks home goal number 7. Well done by the substitute. Great ball in from Palumbi. Just teased tall, and Oida has the simplest of tasks.
Yeah, that ball from Goldstein is really what made it there. A nice little first-time ball in behind to release the winger and started to drag players over, and well held by CFC. The width there was fantastic, and Oida at the back post there unchallenged, and nice way to mark your return back into first grade, and slots one through, so should be very, very happy with that. But again, CFC really starting to show that ruthless nature that we know that they have.
We talked about Grace Gill's last goal being against Wagga City Wanderers. Jordan Oida's only Premier League goal of the season was also against Wagga City Wanderers, and she'll be pleased to get on the score sheet. Ball in towards Settin. Might come for Whiteley, who drives one, but over the crossbar. For those of you who like the symmetry, mentioned goal number 5 was scored by Berkeley wearing shirt number 5. Goal number 7 scored by Jordan Oida, who's wearing number 7.
Oh. Is there an
Make of that what you will.
Skinner again, they're getting on the outside and really showing some industriousness to get through and create the opening and get the cross in. And, almost found her strike partner there, but again, that never give up mentality of Monaro is still ever present.
Goldstein getting away from Compton momentarily, but Compton's back there defending again. Another brilliant display from Timmy Compton.
She really has held strong and has for the whole year. And if you were her, you'd be very pleased with your first season in the Women's Premier League, and someone who's only going to get stronger and better from here, you hope.
Well, I'd suggest, and I'm not privy to these things, that she'd be up there or thereabouts in the Player of the Year votings as well, because she'd get a lot of 3 points playing for the Panthers with her performances that we've seen and elsewhere this season.
Yeah, that's a good point, Russ. You'd think she'd be in and around those points week in, week out, given her weekly performances. And that's the other thing. She's not good here or there. She's consistently good week in and week out, and that's what you want as a coach and as a footballer, to be consistently on show in that positive light. And she's done very well every time that we've seen her, and every time that she's been on Bar TV.
Goldstein stretching the legs, keeping it in play, and delivering towards Oida, who was completely unmarked in the 6-yard box. Liana Hall comfortably gathering in front of her into the final 2.5 minutes.
And Oida getting into the middle of the park there, untouched, is that fatigue. There's 2 minutes to go, as you mentioned, Russ, and you can just see the legs and the midfield drive not there.
Goldstein's drive, and Hall pushes it round the post. Recovered well, the keeper.
Great save by Hall there, diving to her left, and fantastic. And again, she's been great value today. She's another one who can really hold her head up high. And I think we think back to Gungahlin, where I think it was Hall who was off wedding shopping and couldn't play, and you can just see the impact that she has on the team.
Good memory, Matt. Palumbi with the corner. What could she do with this one? Delivers it deep towards Gill, who must have got a call. Volley goalwards, and there's Hall again, pushing it up in the air. She's got to be careful here. Somehow she's kept it out. Almost punched it in her own goal from Berkeley's volley.
We mentioned Berkeley's technique from the 5th goal. Although she got a deflection, she's actually hit that very sweetly. And credit to Hall with the double fist and just that awkward moment of, is it drifting in, is it not? And well done by her not to carry it back in.
There's Miller, who, as you mentioned, is putting her hand up for a start. Very good display since she came on. And there she is once more, intervening. Setting. Wallace. Wallace gets it back again. Tried to find Grant to overrun the ball briefly. Oida with the throw. Finds Gill. Furlaneto tries to stop Grace Gill from creating something here. Good ball in. There's Compton.
Compton again.
Again. And it's not just the fact people watching go, oh, she's just always in the way. It's the positioning to get in the way all the time. Her reading of the game.
That's right, that game sense and awareness is so vital as a centre-back, and her combination with Joy, and we've got to give her credit too, is that their combination allows Compton to take up those positions because she's confident that Joy will be there.
Pullenby with yet another set piece. Lost count how many corners they've had today. Good ball in. Hall comes. Might fall for Oida, who fizzes one towards the far post and headed against the post by Berkeley, who stole in unmarked, much as she did against the Academy the other week. And she'll be disappointed she's not added to the tally.
Yeah, that's right. That set little play there from Berkeley. She sits out at the back, waiting, and which is hooked that in. Berkeley she'll be very disappointed that she hasn't picked up a double herself today, and almost in danger of getting a ricochet on the ricochet back into the ricochet there.
Would have been harsh on Liana Hall, who'd made a decent stop of the corner again. We're into stoppage time. Not sure how much Aisha Struck will add. The answer is not much at all. As the final whistle goes on a fairly comprehensive display from Canberra FC, you'd have to say Panthers, as we mentioned, not disgraced. So good performances from their youngsters.
Yeah, absolutely. Monaro, battled hard all day. Compton, fantastic. Hall, fantastic. And the scoreline may be a little bit harsh on those two in particular, but certainly didn't give up the fight. And Canberra FC juggernaut rolls on. And as we said, Russ, the value in that is that Grace Gill played well. But she wasn't the focal point today, and that's positive signs for them leading into the final series.
Thanks for your company, Matt. It's been a game in which Canberra FC dominated from the start. Rachel Goldstein giving them the lead. A couple from Brittany Pulumbi before half-time made it 3-0. In the second half, it took Sharon Chow less than a minute to make it 4. After that, it was Canberra FC comfortable. They added further goals. Grace Gill was amongst them, Jamie Berkeley as well, and rounded off by substitute Jordan Oida. The final score at Deakin Stadium. A comprehensive win for the home side. Canberra FC 7, Monaro Panthers 0.